Welcome back, everybody. We're here now with Terry Garcia, who has written a book on unsolved murders in Rock County. And this is a topic that a lot of people don't really know is maybe as widespread as it is. So what gave you the inspiration to write the book?
My best friend, David Landwehr, was killed in 1988. He was supposed to come with me to Florida, but our paths changed and he was unable to come.
Yeah.
I left in April, and in September one day I had called home and my mom said that there had been a murder in Beloit and that it was a 22-year-old guy and his name was David. And I'm like, oh, please don't tell me it's David Landwehr because he was my best friend. And she said, I think so, but I'm not sure. So I'll call you back at 10 tonight and let you know. And sure enough, when she called me back, she told me that it was David. He had been killed over a $2 phone bill.
Oh my gosh.
They got into an argument, he got stabbed in the neck and died.
Well, it's the kind of thing, you know, obviously working in news, I hear about these stories all the time. We hear about it constantly, but until you're involved or it's someone you know, you feel like that's never going to happen to me, you know? So that led to this book, and was his murder unsolved? Is that why you went into looking at all these unsolved cases?
Well, they knew who killed him, but the guy had left the scene and went into Illinois and got out on a $5,000 bond because of the paperwork didn't get through in time.
So this was
Illinois
up in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Illinois didn't know that he was, that he was wanted on a homicide, so he was let out, and then he never showed up for his court dates.
Okay.
It took us over 20 years to get him back, and how we got him is he was in Washington State, and he had a tail light out.
Okay.
And so he got pulled over because of that tail light was out. Had a warrant for his arrest under his assumed name, for just traffic violations. Never really been in any trouble since he left here, except for minor things. But they ran his fingerprints finally and realized within an hour he's wanted in Wisconsin.
Wow.
It took us 3 months to get him here because he filed extradition. Once he got here, it took us over a year to have him go through trial because he fired judges and lawyers and things.
Gotcha. So it's been a huge process.
Yes, and then they dropped the charges because of the time down to manslaughter. So he only got 10 years for the murder and 5 years for reckless use of a dangerous weapon. So I don't really think that was fair, and that's my inspiration basically for these other victims, because the longer their cases go unsolved, the chances of that happening to them are the same.
So it's really important to get the word out. So how many unsolved cases are in your book here?
We have 27 and one missing persons case.
Okay. And how did you find out about these? Did you have to go and talk to each family to present their stories?
Actually, what I did is when I got the idea after David's killer was sentenced, had an article in the shopping news and let people know I was doing it. And then some families did contact me. So I did have some family contact. Other times I just went to the archives of the Beloit Daily News at the library, spent many, many hours at the library, went on the internet, talked to the police department.
Well, because a lot of times someone will write a book kind of after the fact, and it's just to kind of share the stories. But it seems like this is about more than sharing the stories. This is about really getting the word out to find these people behind all these killings.
Right.
Right. So show us the book here, because it's kind of thinner. It almost feels a little bit like a magazine. So is it just kind of like a short synopsis of each case?
What I did here is I put each victim right here in the beginning. It has their names and the dates and the counties.
Okay.
And then in each case, I put one chapter per victim. Like I said, some of them are longer because I got more information from the families.
Sure.
And that's kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to have a picture of the victim, plus I wanted to have their story present, and the details of what we knew, so that when you read the book, the person would become a person to you.
Yeah.
You would be able to feel their story, get to know them a little bit, versus just seeing them on the news, because then it comes and goes. Right here, it's more personable.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does, dealing with these kinds of stories, like I said, every day. We hear about a case and then it kind of slides away from your memory, and it's hard to remember that each one of these, this is a real life that, impacted a lot of people for the rest of their lives,
Exactly.
too. What kind of response have you gotten from the book so far?
Actually, very good. No negative responses. I've had victims' families call me and personally thank me for making the stories. People join my personal Facebook and ask me if I wrote the book and tell me thank you, that it was something that was needed to be done. Because for one thing, our police department does work as hard as they can on cold cases. But, with it being out in the public, and now you're seeing everybody's case versus a few at a time that they can work on. And so even though they're old, you just never know who might now want to come forward or remember something that they didn't remember back then.
Right, and I mean, police, you know, they do a great job, but they can only do so much,
Right.
and there may be somebody who's connected to a case who they don't even know about.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Where can people get a copy of one of these books?
They're all over Beloit and Janesville. I have them in all the Walgreens in Beloit,
Okay.
all the Walgreens in Janesville. In Beloit, there's a store called PX on Portland. I have it in a Grand Avenue store on Grand Avenue, Texas grocery store on St. Lawrence, the Tobacco Shack on Cranston, and Clark gas station in Beloit as well. Janesville has it at Jake's Mobile, which is on 51 by the Isabella Queen.
Okay.
House of Treasures, and the Book World on Milton Avenue.
So a long list of places.
We have 16.
So have you had an easy time convincing people to carry your book then? Seems like a lot of people are on board.
Sometimes and sometimes not.
Yeah.
I've had probably as many say no as that would agree.
Sure.
They are making money off selling them, so I mean they're a
Okay.
little more motivated that way.
Sure.
But also I think they see the point and the need for the information to get out.
How old are some of these cases?
The oldest is from 1969 in Janesville.
Wow. Okay. So it's dating back pretty far. Is there anything that could even be done if you were to find a killer who killed someone 40 or 50 years ago? I mean, or do things run out?
Well, I don't think there's a statute of limitations on murder in Wisconsin.
Okay.
So let's hope not. But that I'm checking into that kind of stuff too to see what we can do.
It's so hard, you know, the longer that you go, it's so hard to, I'm sure, find people who remember the situation, who were involved in the situation. But people are maybe out there. Do you think that some people maybe know something and have a reason for not coming forward?
Yeah, out of fear, more than likely getting
of
pulled
fear.
into the situation themselves or their family.
It's
being
easier
involved.
to just get out. What message would you have for them if there's anyone out there, not just in Rock County, but anywhere who knows about a crime or something that happened and has been kind of holding back? What message do you have for them?
Well, Crime Stoppers is a good asset. Now they have, I know in Beloit and Janesville, which I would imagine in Rockford, they have where you can text Crime Stoppers
Okay.
and go on email. So you can remain completely anonymous, you know, and then there's even rewards available for this stuff.
So there's an incentive too. Yeah, I'm not sure if Rockford has the texting or not, but I know you can call 963-STOP, and that's the Crime Stoppers number here in Rockford. And you have a website too, where people can learn more. Tell us about the website.
We're just starting it, so it's newer.
Okay.
So the first page kind of tells my motive for making the book. Then we're going to have a purchase page where they could actually get an ebook if they want to.
Oh, great. Okay.
And then the locations will be listed where they could buy it. And then there's kind of like about me, you know, my history, and also contact information. My email address is rockcountyunsolvedmurders.com.
Okay.
and
That's the
my-
website, right? RockCountyUnsolvedMurders.com.
And then my email address is rockcounties, COUNTIES, unsolvedmurders@yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com. So people can certainly contact you
Oh, most definitely.
if they
'Cause
need to.
Right. When I started writing the book in the beginning, I had people contacting me that gave me information
Okay.
that possibly could have led to another case being solved in another county.
Wow.
So that made me feel good.
Yeah.
What happened is I had a detective, a guy was calling me about one case in Rock County, and then he said it was related to another Jefferson County murder.
Mm-hmm.
So Dane County came and talked to me because the lady was from Rock County, but she was found in, she was kidnapped from Dane County and then found in Jefferson County, so it was kind of
Gotcha.
a crazy. But he gave me information that case and another one may be related. Well, then they must have reran the DNA after I spoke to the detective for Jefferson County, and they made an arrest 30 years later.
Wow. That's incredible. That must feel so good to be a part of that.
Right.
Do you have any plans to do a second book? Have you gotten any new information that you wish you could have included in this one?
Not so much in our area, I don't think.
Okay.
And they're kind of private when they're open, they can't give you too much
Sure.
information. But I would like to do one like for Rockford. There's two, Rockford, the Winnebago County and the police department is separate, and they both have a list. And one thing that I thought was truly awesome is Rockford has a page with their victims on it. It has their
Okay.
pictures, their stories, the whole thing dedicated just to the unsolved murders. And I'd like to do something like that in our area. I think that's really, really good.
That would be great. Why do you feel like it's so important for a book like this to get out there in the community?
Because then you have it in the community's hands. People that dealt with these people that knew these people, that might know about the crimes. You know, the police department, like I said, they can only work on so many cases at a time. If you put it in a book form and put it out there like that, then they can look at each and every one of these cases And maybe there's, the case that the police are working on now, they don't know anything about, but then there might be one in the book that they may have information on and are willing to give it in one way or another.
Yeah, great. Well, again, if you are interested in the book, rockcountyunsolvedmurders.com is the website you need to go to for more information. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Terry, you're a busy woman. You have a homicide survivor support group that you're working on right now, too. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll talk about that right after this.